This is Leafs Late Night, your night of post-game podcast with Roscoe, the Fanalyst, and Southey.
We're back. It feels like it's been a while. It feels like we've been on vacation. I feel like I'm waking up from a weird fever dream. But there was a Leaf game on. It's like the season stopped and restarted again, and this is preseason. I mean, the Ottawa Senators played like it was preseason. Yeah. But Roscoe and the Fanalyst here after a huge win, 6-0 over the Ottawa Senators for the big Toronto Maple Leafs. Love it. Love to see it.
Love to see it.
Steph, how you feeling tonight?
Oh, happy New Year, everyone. This is exactly how we wanted the new year to start off. A huge win, 6-0 for our Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm good. I'm great. This, I was a little afraid down to the wire if the game was going to get postponed or not, because you just never know nowadays. But so happy it happened, and here we are. Oh.
Yeah, happy New Year to everybody. It is January 1st. And yeah, like you said, I thought this game was going to get postponed. My dad scared me. He texted me a couple hours before the game, and he said, I just found out about the Sens game. And I was like, what do you mean? And I started looking up to see if it was postponed, but what he meant was he thought it was postponed and he just found out about the game.
Oh, yeah. He kind of threw me off.
Okay, well, that's fair too.
Last episode, I thought Ed told us that the game was going to be canceled. I think I just wrote that.
He did?
Yeah. And so I told someone on Twitter and they completely called me out. But I'm so glad we're here, and new year, so many goals, man, gives us something to talk about, in such a great mood. So yes.
Yeah, I love that. We talk about New Year's resolutions as goals, and the Leafs were like, New Year's resolution is score goals tonight.
Yeah, from the players you never expected.
Love it.
So
yeah, it was weird. I mean, first of all, there was nobody there. That was the first kind of strange thing after a while. And this is why we didn't think there was going to be a game tonight. I mean, the attendance was completely shut down to zero. Well, not zero. There were some friends and family in attendance.
Yes.
One of which being Curtis from Alberta, shout out, who got a whole feature as a friend of MLSE for the night.
Yes.
Was one of the few people actually in attendance in the game. So, yeah, got a couple little shout outs on TV. So good to see some people still there and cheering on the team.
Yeah, and happy to see Dark Guy out there as well and squashing that Twitter beef that was none to begin with. Just, I don't know what happened there, but clearly we saw tonight they are the greatest of friends. So I'm glad it worked out for everyone, and our friend Curtis able to make it to the game all the way from Alberta. So it's a good news story.
Yeah, I was getting a little shaky there after those games were getting postponed and everything. And then he had his seats and his tickets and everything moved again. And yeah, so great to see that he was able to make it. For the rest of us, it might be a while before we can go to a game again with the way things are going.
Yeah.
That's
no
okay.
Update for me.
But at least we get to watch games.
I had tickets to the Pittsburgh game and I'm still waiting for an update. So, hey, time will tell. But anyways, Leafs made up for it tonight. John Tavares playing his 900th NHL game, 230 as a Leaf, and we saw some familiar faces that we haven't seen in a long time, like Marner and Sandin, activated off long-term injury. Reserve Spezza, how can I forget? And so many others, right? I feel like the entire roster, except for Austin Matthews and Michael Bunting, was on COVID-19 protocol. So it's... I don't know.
Yeah, I was just trying to find something real quick. I saw that there was an update on when they were postponing some of these games, but now I can't find it. It was just one of those notifications from Sportsnet that disappears when you click on it. So
one thing
but yeah, it was. Sorry, no, go ahead.
One thing I just want to bring up.
Hi, sorry, my laptop was not plugged in and it died.
It still says recording on my end, so I don't know.
I can edit around this. We're back. You were saying?
As I was saying, Saw some familiar faces tonight in the likes of Sandine specifically. I just want to bring up that the Leafs made a little bit of a roster move to deal with cap space because we got Marner back on the lineup, and you know how hefty his contract is.
No
That
kidding.
only left the Leafs with approximately $112,000 left. So what they
Ooh.
did was demoted Sandine to the AHL and called him back up on an emergency recall basis, which is temporary, which allowed him to fit on tonight's roster. I don't know if you heard this, Johnny,
I
but when I
didn't.
saw this, I was like, ooh. And then we had the scratch of Richie tonight, which was a little bit surprising, right? And makes you think, are we going to see something happen soon?
Um, Two thoughts on that. So first, it's awesome that the guy who wrote the rules on the salary cap works for the Leafs because nobody else would think of doing something like that. That's unreal. Maybe Tampa Bay Lightning, but
Props to Dubas.
mhm. Props. And sorry, the name is escaping me. What's the guy's name? Who? Do you know it? Brandon something. I think it's Brandon Pridham. Anyway, I'll look it up. But there's a guy who works for the Leafs accounting office who actually wrote the salary cap rules. It's insane. So, the second thing was which? Sorry.
Sandine.
Oh no. Oh, Richie getting
Richie.
scratched.
Yes.
I think they are showing off Ilya Mikheyev, and I think
Mm-hmm.
it worked really well because they're looking to trade him. And I think tonight was a very, 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 very good night for that since he scored twice, which we'll get to. But
Yes.
yeah, that's the only thing I'll think of on that point. I think they've been looking to trade him for a while, and if you're going to scratch anybody, I think Richie's, you know, could use a night off. So yeah,
He's had a long
I think they're
break, but
advertising Mikheyev.
yeah, and another person off the barn getting a shot tonight, Mr. Biega here, who was also a former captain of the University Harvard, along with Kerfoot. So that was an interesting little nitbit I heard on the programming tonight.
Nice.
So yeah, it was good. But
Yeah, and speaking of AHL call-ups, Matt Murray was called back up from the AHL to
yes,
play with the Sens after his 1 month and 2 games with the Belleville Senators. Unfortunately, they were ravaged by COVID as well, so he didn't really get much of a conditioning stint there.
no.
And I don't know if it showed. I don't know how much of this to blame on him. The whole team was not playing great, but let's get into it. First period.
Yeah. I honestly don't blame Murray one bit. This team, the Ottawa Senators, were playing a very loose game and too many sloppy mistakes, which led to a ton of penalties. And the first one, I think it was in the opening minute of the third or the first period. It was a Sanford hook on Brody, and unfortunately, the Leafs were showing a little sloppiness to begin with too, with Nylander, a horrible pass that went through the legs of JT and down the ice, and then Nylander sent the puck again to a wide open wing with no one there, but. It's expected, you know. It's been a while.
Yeah, the
They need to
first
settle
period was
in.
a little rough on both sides. I think the Leafs played better than the Sens did, but yeah, some
Yes.
some sloppy mistakes. Leafs getting 2 power plays within the first 5 minutes of the game. Unfortunately, not able to capitalize on either. Power play looks different with Marner back. I don't want to say it looks worse, but it's a different type of power play. There was a lot more shots um, on the power play tonight than normal.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's just I don't know, wasn't the same.
Yeah, I agree. And the Leafs in total had 6 opportunities on this power play, and of course, the second unit scored later on in the game, but I that's why I sent out the tweet early into the game. I'm like, petition to put Kashe back on PP1. Like, this guy,
Yeah,
he really solidified himself into this spot on the first power play unit, parking his butt right in front of the net and getting those loose dirty goals. So hey, it's still early. I know we're jumping ahead of ourselves when we're saying put this guy here, leave this guy there, but who knows?
yeah, it's tough after this long off and all these guys coming back in the lineup, like we said, after so long. And yeah, I mean, we'll have to give it a few games before we really know what this new lineup looks like, especially for the power play. But that wasn't who opened the scoring. So Leafs get a penalty, and instead of Ottawa getting a power play goal, Leafs flipped it around and pulled something off they haven't done since the 80s, and before that, the 60s. We're talking the likes of Dave Keown the first time in the 60s, and I forget who it was on the other one, but man, like two
Who
goals
would have
in,
thought
what was it,
it?
27 seconds
Yes.
from none other than, wait, what am I talking about?
I know. That's why I found it so funny when my mom walked back in the living room after doing something and she's like, who scored? And I'm like, Hall, and getting to Mikheyev, and she's just like, I picked Hall, my Tim's pick. I'm like, wow, you are so lucky to pick Hall because this is his first of the year.
Man,
so.
what a little slight by Tim's to even let you pick somebody that hasn't scored at all. Like, what would lead you to believe that Justin Hall was going to score tonight, that they would even give you the option to pick him? That's mean.
They're sneaky.
There's not many games going on, to be fair.
They even put people on COVID on the list too, so you really have to know your stuff. So, but big shout out to Hall, man. 2 tampons in his nose, and he gets the first goal of the year, 2022. Wow,
that was
awesome
scary.
Pass by Camp.
The skate that came up and clipped him on the nose there, that was a little frightening.
Yes, I know. It happened so quickly, and then I just glanced down. I guess I was on Twitter. I look up. This guy has 2 tampons in his nose, and he is rushing up the ice with the puck. And I'm like, what is going on here? He just got beautiful. Bashed. Yeah.
So early on in the game, we got a ding, 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 Ed's text. So he's like, Mikheyev will score tonight. He texted me that at 7:26, so that's a few minutes into the game.
Nice.
He was right.
Yes.
Because 27 seconds after Hall scores, Mikheyev, with a really nice shot, buries another shorthanded goal. Like, what?
Oh, beauty.
Twitter erupted. Like, who had this in bingo for first 2 people to score in 2022 for the Leafs?
Yeah, literally, I was saying to this Leafs group I was added today that people are making not making money tonight banking on those players who usually score. It's literally like the plugs and the nobodies in some sort of sense. But I'm so happy for Mikheyev because we know this guy's a speedster and he has so many pros. He just puts himself in a hole sometimes by just hitting that bullet in the middle of the chest and just never deking around the goalie. But this was a perfect shot by Mikheyev. And yeah, you were saying about a stat, Johnny, when last time it happened. It actually happened last time in 2013 by Michael Grabner for the 20 seconds, 2 goals apart there. Someone told me that on Twitter, and then I looked it up, and it's true. So
both shorthanded?
Yes, it was.
Was it in the first
Calgary
period? Because I think that was the caveat of the other one.
Maybe it wasn't, but it was within a minute. So
okay. So I mean, it happens, but they got really specific to make it sound, less frequent by saying it happened in the first period, which is still crazy.
Yes, but shout out to Blue and White Chick who actually gave me this stat that tonight they matched the franchise record for the 2 shorthanded goals being 27 seconds apart by Sal Ming and Terrion, which dates back to 1986. So they just matched that franchise record with the time. So that was really interesting too.
That's wild. And it's like you said about the Stars there, like talking to somebody who has Matthews in their fantasy team. It's not normal that the Leafs win 6-0 and he's got zeros.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of shots, but man. And JT, I mean, him and Willie were playing really well together. But it was the third and fourth line were awesome. Like Spezza was great, Engvall was good, minus a couple little things. But the one, apart from him scoring, Justin Hall defensively, I've never watched a full game and not had a comment about his defensive play.
That's a huge plus.
And
wow.
Everybody's like, oh, he's the problem, not Muzzin. Muzzin's out. They put Hall with Sandin.
Mm-hmm.
I have no answers for this anymore. Like, nothing makes sense. You put them together, sometimes they're good. You split them up, sometimes they're good.
I know.
I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason to this, but Justin Hall played well defensively and offensively tonight. I think all the defenders did.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I was gonna say my mom deserves a whole free week of coffee just for getting that Justin Hall pick right
that's
because no
insane.
one saw that coming. So, but JT with 1 assist tonight, kudos to him. But obviously rooting for his 900th game there to sink a couple. But hey, everyone else clicked, and I'm so happy about the third and fourth line because we know what our superstars can do, and when the third and fourth lines click, it's even better, right? So.
The other thing, everybody was playing well defensively, not just the defenders, but like the Ottawa Senators didn't get a shot until 11 and a half minutes into the game, like, or 10 and a half.
Yes.
Like, that was crazy.
Brutal. Big blocks by the Leafs. They would have had a couple, but the Leafs not many blocks on the night, but they blocked when it mattered. They only had 9 total tonight, but another thing too, the face-off percentage. Man, 64% on the dot. It just makes a world of wonders. And I think going into the second period, they mentioned the Leafs won 15 out of 19 draws. So that tells you the story right there.
Yeah, they were up as high as 73% at one point in that game. Like, they were just dominating. Even if they
Wow.
iced it, it was like, yeah, whatever. We're still good.
Yeah, totally.
JT was really good in the circle. Spezza too. There was one. There's one instance near the end there. Just to kind of jump ahead for a sec, but Kerfoot was out, but he was playing wing while JT was out, and he swatted at the puck with his hand, and the Sens were calling for a penalty, but because he was technically not playing center on that line because JT was still out, it wasn't a penalty because he's allowed to do that.
I saw that. And speaking of Kerfoot, he's 100% tonight on the dot. So
And a
what an asset
boy.
there. But I know there's a little bit of a talk about that first goal with the cheating thing and Marner tugging on Stutzel's jersey, which allowed him to slow down and then for Hall to rush up the ice. But
I missed that actually.
yeah, Biekska was talking about it during the first intermission, actually, and then
I
someone
was
else
playing House
tweeted at
Flipper on
me.
the intermission.
No. Priorities.
Yeah, there's a lot of new DLC out for that game, so I've been playing that. So onto the second period. We start off exactly the same way. Marta gets stripped up. Leafs go on the power play.
Yeah.
And they had some good chances. I mean, Riley had a lot of good looks. He was doing really well in the Send zone all night. Lots of good shots. Set up Matthews a couple times. Was set up by Matthews and Marner a couple times. Held the blue line really well on the power plays, but still they couldn't get anything.
No, I found they couldn't keep the setup going on the power play. I mean, they got set up, but then a little bit too much time or 1-2 punch, and I don't know. It just that's why I was hoping for Kashe to come back out because, yeah, Marner just seems to be too hesitant once again, not shooting when you just want to yell shoot on the TV, but hoping that
Yeah.
changes.
And that power play, they held the entire 2 minutes. I was watching. That puck did not leave the Send zone for the entire power play. It was impressive, but they couldn't find it. It was a little frustrating to watch. And then Sanford back to the box again.
Yeah.
Leafs fourth power play of the night. Still nothing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's at the same time, it's not like they were giving up a ton of chances. I don't think it was that one where Ottawa had a bunch of shorthanded chances, but I mean, really, as long as you're holding their zone, if you have the lead, it's like it's just safe at that point. Don't have to always run up the score sheet, but hey.
Yeah, it was getting a little anticlimactic there, and I was just hoping for something to happen. And then, lo and behold, out of the blue, our boy TJ Brody comes out of nowhere with a huge wraparound and sinks it, surprises all of Leafs Nation.
In 2 games, has doubled his score total from last year.
Yeah.
With 2 goals. Attaboy.
Wow. Love it.
And a wraparound? Like what? Okay, so let me just go through this. So Hall had 1 on a 2-on-1. We had TJ Brody with a wraparound goal. And then we had Dermott and Brody with another 2-on-1 chance. What was going on that these guys kept getting chances like this? This is insane. The
I
defenders
know.
were all over the place.
Yeah, it's all of the non-scorers actually scoring. Like, happy 2022 to Leafs Nation, because this is what we've been waiting for. And
No
Leafs
kidding.
were at the bottom of the league for defenders in scoring, and then look at tonight's game. It's just all been mostly defenders or assists and such. So yeah, and then when you think Brody doesn't do it all, he saves a goal on top of
Oh,
that. Did you
that was
see that?
insane. Absolutely insane. So Campbell makes the crazy save, but it's about to trickle in, and Brody just dives in. And he's like, "Nah, I'm keeping this shutout going. Don't worry."
Yeah, he's like, I got it, bro. I'm right here. Don't worry, I have no teeth left. I'll be the one.
And then Sanford gets his third penalty of the night, and
Oh my god.
they cut to, they cut to TJ Smith, and he just like glares across from the bench of the penalty box. There's just this look of like the most disappointed parent ever. Just like, dude, what are you doing?
I
That was
know.
so pointless.
Feel bad for the guy, honestly. I wish this guy nothing but success, but damn, like these Sens did not play for their coach tonight. I don't know what
No.
happened.
They lucked out though.
Oh.
JT took a penalty about I don't know 20, 30 seconds in. So that put the Leafs 0 for 5 on the power play. Woohoo! And right after
Woohoo.
that was when Brody and Dermott had their little. It was when they were playing 4-on-4. That's why they had this weird chance. I guess they caught everybody on a change. But now the Sens, I noticed Thomas Chabot has like 27 and a half minutes average ice time a night. Like he leads the league.
Yeah.
It, they're gonna break this guy. Like they're when you're in this mode of trying to develop these guys and rebuild, like, oh my god, this poor dude. So having him out there and Zub they're basically just throwing their bodies in front of everything. Like it's
Yeah.
sad to watch.
I know. It's funny you say that because tonight Shabbat did not play at what you would expect. He was on the ice for 23:52, which is a very, very low amount for this guy because like you said, he's usually near the 30-minute mark. But I don't know. I guess they're trying to even out the defending, or I don't know what was going on, but the Leafs were
Yeah.
too much for them. They were even the top line. I saw in the chat you guys were saying the top line has been like a shutdown line out of all types of lines, you know? And
Yeah, it was weird to see like the matchup between Kachuk and Batherson and company against Marner and Matthews, because it wasn't like both lines kind of like collided and couldn't do anything.
mhm,
Like that, it was almost what happened. Like they
yeah.
both are pretty good at playing both ends of the ice, I think, and they kind of just kept each other at bay, which is pretty impressive on both sides' parts. Like I'll give to Ottawa for that at least. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, Matthews and Marner had a decent amount of shots, but um, I mean, it wasn't those guys that scored, right? Like, I mean, Mikheyev was able to get 7 shots on goal versus Matthews 3. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it shows. They just to give the Sens one little victory and a 6-0 loss. Like they were able to hold the Stars down.
Yeah.
Honestly, had the Leafs like depth versus the Sens depth not completely blown them out of the water, this would have been a
Mhm.
different game entirely.
Yeah, the Suns out hit the Leafs. They out blocked the Leafs, but not gonna lie, when I was watching, because I think this is the first game versus the Leafs with Brady to Chuck in the lineup. Maybe it
Oh yeah,
was
true.
a previous game. I can't really remember because you know what? I barely noticed him tonight. I don't know if it was
Yeah,
just me, but it wasn't like the Brady to Chuck that I was expecting to see. And I know since he's been back that he's been a point per game player and he's been out hitting the league just based on the averaging per game. But no, tonight I was disappointed. And I know the Sens are affected by COVID, but I don't know. I was expecting more. That's just me though.
yeah, and I mean, like Batherson's still there, and he's been pretty good the whole year. So I don't know. We'll get to that later in our questions. There's a lot of things wrong with that team.
Yeah.
So third period, Marner, Matthews, and Bunting with a pretty nice chance. Bunting almost put it in. It just slipped out of reach, unfortunately. And that was about the point when it came up on the broadcast. The Leafs were at 73% face-off beginning of the third. So, yeah,
Wow.
Ottawa was not doing good going into that point.
No, and then they showed the Ozo time. The Leafs were at 20:38 and the Sens 11:31 entering the third period. So that just tells you there. And halfway through the third, the shots were 33-18 for Toronto by that point. So
what were the shot attempts? Because I saw the Leafs had like 70 something. If you can find that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was wild.
I know at one point they were in the
up the
50s.
Sens.
Yes. At one point it showed they were in the 50s and the Sens weren't even at 20. I think they were around like 12 or 14 or something like that. So yeah, it was pretty bad for them.
Yeah. So then Matthews had a good look and just missed, and you could see him. He just looked up like straight into the stands. Like,
Yeah.
I can't score tonight. Whatever. I'm glad you guys got this.
So did I, because that's my one Leaf Tim pick. So I was hoping for Matthews to just go off, but everyone else did. So
hey, like I said, I mean, I'm glad I've got Campbell for the shutout tonight because Matthews with no goals or assists on a 6-0 game. It's just like, oh, come on.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure he was like +1 or something. Like, he wasn't even around for most of these.
3 shots, not bad, but that's pretty low for Matthews.
Usually he gets like 5. Anyway.
Yeah. Wow.
So then the third period, which we'll give to William Nylander. Oh, buddy.
Ooh, Willie Styles.
Yeah, Dermott with a nice little steal in the Leaf zone, feeds it over to Nylander, who just kind of dances through the middle with a little look behind to see where the puck's coming from. Read everything beautifully. And you always kind of, when breakaways happen during a game, you know, it's different than on a shootout, but this looked like a shootout goal.
Yeah.
Like he had enough time to set up on this, and he thought about what he was going to do, and just he beat Matt Murray on that one. Damn.
Yes. Clean. Poor guy. I know Murray's on a redemption tour here, coming back to the NHL after going 0-5 to start the season. So tonight was just a horror show for him, and fortunately for Nylander, he rebounded from the first and second period with the goal there, and then another one to top it off after the Mikheyev goal. I know I'm jumping ahead, but damn, like, this is perfection, if you want to call
Matt
it.
Murray.
I know.
He hasn't won an NHL game since April of last year.
Oh, I did not.
Well, I guess
see
April
that
of this
stat.
year, so like April of last season, because I mean, you know, last season ended, and then he got traded, and he hasn't won yet. He won one game in the AHL of his 2, so there's that.
Poor guy, but
man, talk about a fall from grace. This is a Stanley Cup winning goalie.
I know, that's shocking, and I totally expected to see Forsberg in net tonight, but when I went to the Game Center on the NHL app, I noticed Murray was the only one listed. I was like,
oh boy,
what is happening? Is this a glitch or what's going on? And then Gustafsson to back him up. So yeah, it's just unfortunate.
So Mikheyev managed to get another one. I thought Spezza's shot went in. I thought they were going to go back and review that, but then I saw it hit the side of the net, kind of bounced over to whoever was behind. Kerfoot, I think, was behind the net.
Mm-hmm.
Fed it over to Mikheyev, and second one of the night for Soupy.
Oh, it was actually Kashe.
Kashe,
the 2 assists were Kashe and Spezza. But I'm so glad that Keefe sent out the second unit to start that power play. I mean, it was the 7th for the Leafs, so you might as well throw them out there. I mean, they were getting pretty good chances, and you can tell that our original Soupy number 1 was hungry. I mean, he got injured in his first game of this year, and this guy has had nothing but bad luck with the Leafs the last couple years. So yeah, so it's beautiful. Just borscht.
Yeah. Oh my god, I gotta give him a
Yes, we're serving 2 kinds of soups tonight, guys. Campbell's and borscht. So line up.
It's that or defense. That's what you get.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Lastly, Nylander just puts the
Nylander.
cherry on top.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, this game's over. Oh, okay, another one. Let's go.
I was literally thinking to myself, are the World Juniors still on? What is
Oh
happening? Is
god, I
this a
know.
Canada game versus Austria or something moment? You know, like 6-0 blowout? Woo!
The Leafs almost got another shorthanded one. Mikheyev almost got his own, and then kind of fed it off to Kerfoot last second. Couldn't decide who was going to shoot it. It was a little too late. Kerfoot couldn't
Yeah.
put it in, but man, yeah, it was like a U.S. versus Austria game out there. Canada versus Austria.
But 8th career shutout for Soup. I think 4th with the Leafs, or I think I missed that one. But I missed the chance tonight, the Soup chance in the Scotiabank Arena.
I know it was cool hearing "Go Leafs Go" still, even from like the few people that were there.
Yeah. Curtis
But
and Dark Guy. I don't know if I heard you guys, man, but oh, I know I was tweeting Soup like crazy, and of course we gotta give it to both of them now. There's two Soups on the ice, so now we gotta put a differential. Like I don't know how we're gonna tell the two apart with our chance.
okay, so after tonight, can I just say Jack Campbell has a 194 goals against average and a 937 save percentage with 3 shutouts on the year. Are you joking?
Boom. Good pick, Johnny.
Thanks. I also grabbed Alex Tuck, who came back finally and is playing for Buffalo with a goal and a power play goal and an assist today. So
I
that was
was
nice.
very happy to see that actually. You want to see Tuck pull through after not playing for months on end and then getting traded to Buffalo. So, but I
Yeah.
also have to thank you for dropping Jordan Caillou, Mr. Cairo,
Yeah,
because he
I know.
had 4 points tonight and I snagged him up real quick
Oh,
off the
did he really?
wire.
Shit. I
4
know.
points, 2 goals, 2 assists, 1 power play point. He filled the stat line. So thank you so much. And he
Yeah.
covers center, left wing, right wing. Boom.
I know. It was one of those situations where I had, like, I've got 2 defensemen that were on IR. One of them finally just came back. Then Max Pacioretty's now out, and I have no ads left. So it was just like, ugh, it was tough.
It's been a weird week, right? Because they combined the 2 weeks for fantasy and half your team couldn't play to begin with and
Yeah.
just trying to feel it out. But yeah, that was beautiful. So thank you so
Ooh.
much. But
I'm up 9-1 right now.
nice. Should we go into
Let's go.
some tweeter questions?
Yeah. What time? Oh, yeah. I guess yours won't show the time because I'm recording. We'll go to break quick, and then we'll come back with questions, and then we'll do our 2021 in review / 2022 predictions. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Cool. We'll be right back. Yeah, we're back. All right, so we're gonna do some questions from the Twitterverse. We got to come up with a name for this, and I can make a whole sound for it. Send in your ideas for what we should call this mailbox type situation, because we
The
can't
bird box.
Oh no!
I don't know.
Yeah, pigeon coop, where we get all the messenger pigeons,
The pigeon coop. Oh.
like okay, decided on pigeons.
Yes.
So we're gonna go to the pigeon coop here, and actually, I have a whole idea for this that I came up with last night. It
Oh,
involves owls. We're gonna do owls. It's
yes.
gonna be our thing. It's gonna go across our logos. It came to me in a dream. Write it
Ooh,
down.
those are the best
But
kind.
right. So our first question here comes from at Sarah Waugh. Did you guys think the first 3 goals of 22 would land the way they did? No.
Hell no.
Jesus, no.
Hell no. Absolutely not. Just like I said earlier, people lost a lot of money tonight not picking these guys to score. So,
But to my point earlier, who didn't lose money tonight is Ilya Mikheyev. I think he did exactly what Dubas wanted, and that's to advertise himself and show what he can do to try to find a trade partner, because I don't think he wants to stay with this team long term. I don't think there's a piece for him, or sorry, a place for him, as we've talked about at length before. So I think as we're now approaching February for trade deadline season, I think they just want to get him out there, get him the minutes while people are off in COVID protocol, and we're against a team like Ottawa where he can shine. He's fast, he's good. I think they'll get something back for him, but with the current makeup of this team, I think they need to move him.
yeah.
I just think that's where they're at.
It's hard because once this guy shines, the Leafs Nation is going to rebound back and say, no, we can't let him go because he's producing and he's so cheap at the moment. But honestly, Mikheyev on a different team, he would easily be a top 6 forward and he would be on the power play unit, the first power play unit. I mean, teams like, for example, Arizona or even the New York Islanders could really use a really like an offensive fast guy like that. So
Yeah. And
yeah.
Arizona's looking to get rid of Jacob Chikrin, so maybe there's
Mm-hmm.
some sort of deal there.
Yeah. And
Um,
one more thing, I think the key to Justin Hall's success has to be the tampons. I mean, shove them up his nose every single game. He's going to be scoring.
it's like a shark just gets thirsty with blood.
Yes,
Uh,
exactly.
Speaking of, also with Muzzin out, Sandin was on the first power play. I meant to mention this, or on the second power play. Sometimes the first, they switched them back and forth. But that was nice to see because Sandin was playing really well.
Yes. Totally agree.
Kind of changed the whole makeup of the defensive situation. So it was nice to see, to talk, I guess, the first 3 goals, because the first and third were both from defenders. So yeah, I think the whole makeup of the defense was nice. I liked it.
Me too.
For a change.
So nice.
At and roll, what happened with Ottawa? It's weird. They keep playing either really well against good teams or really badly against good teams.
Yeah, and then we have the Sens curse, right? For some reason, whenever the Leafs face the Sens, it's usually not a great game for the Leafs. So I'm so happy that it worked out. And my take on it is that obviously both teams haven't played since December 18th, but the Leafs had an extra practice week in comparison to the Sens. That's what the reports say. And also, they're missing key players such as Forsberg, which is their 1A goalie right now, Josh Norris, which is their first line center, Tyler Innes, Nick Paul, Dylan Hetherington. So unfortunately,
Okay.
it's not good for them. And then on injury, you have Josh Brown, Shane Pinto, and Colin White. So yeah, they're definitely playing the farm out there. And Matt Murray on his little redemption tour, unfortunately, it was against the Leafs, so that did not help. And yeah, just not a good time.
Yeah, it seemed like a case of one team was playing like it was preseason and one was coming out ready to win.
Yeah.
Like Ottawa looked depleted, like you said, whether it was injuries or COVID. But yeah, they looked like a really depleted team. that lost to a really good one. That's all I can say. They got dominated.
Yeah, and I'm happy it went this way, of course, with the win, but it's a good game to get the Leafs' feet back on the ice and to set themselves up, especially with all this power play time and to practice their setups and for that second unit to click with all of these new faces on there. So, this is perfection starting 2022. I don't want to jinx anything moving forward, but hey, it sucks to be a
Yeah.
Sen right now.
Well, and what's also kind of nice with these postponed games is the Leafs are a game and 2 games now behind the Panthers and Lightning. Usually they're like so many ahead that it's like, oh yeah, the Leafs are in first place, but they're 2-3 games ahead. Okay, well, yeah, now they're in that position. They're a game
Yes.
behind the Panthers, and they're 2 points behind them, and they're 2 games behind the Lightning, and they're 3 points behind them. So they're basically all tied.
It's so nice for once. I agree with that because I always notice that people posting screenshots about being on top, but then we're 5 games ahead. So it's one of those situations that we're not fully caught up, but there's a few other teams now that I'm just looking at the list here. You still have teams like Calgary who've only played 29 games, Dallas, uh, Boston with 27. So this was the Leafs' 33rd game, I believe. Yeah, no,
31.
31st, yes. So, and then Tampa with 33. So, yeah.
Yeah. So next question from @Nomus97. Simon asks, I thought Biega had a solid game. Well, not really a question, but says, I thought Biega had a solid game in sheltered minutes. At least looked that way. I agree.
Yeah.
I think Biega was good.
I think it was one of those.
It's one of those things like Brody, which is, I could tell exactly what you were going to say.
Yes, you took the words right out of my mouth, Johnny. It's literally a Brody situation where you don't want to notice the guy. And, when you don't notice him, that's when they're playing their best hockey. But he played 13:53 on the night, 1 shot, 3 hits, 1 block, first NHL game ever. Hey, good night to me.
Oh, yeah. So, I'm sorry, I just got an update. 2 people on my fantasy basketball team didn't play tonight. Now I have to pick new games. It's Saturday, so I have to find someone who plays tomorrow. Womp womp.
Yeah.
While we're talking about the standings, let's get into just real first conversation here. Who is out of the playoff race? Who can we basically, at this point, there's still 50 games left, but just a lot of teams kind of fighting for the bottom already. So
Yeah.
who can we count out for the Eastern Conference? We'll start with Atlantic. How far up would we cut this off?
You know what? I would definitely just cut it off at Montreal. I know this is a really bold take, but Montreal has 7 wins on the year. They only have 18 points. I think their only race that they're in is for the draft lottery pick, for the number 1 pick. I think the Sens have a lot of life left in them, especially if they can't get all their players healthy this month, but it'll be definitely a big, big race. And we saw what Buffalo can do early into the season. I mean, they surprised us all, and then now they have Alex Tuch finally healthy and playing. So I wouldn't count out numbers 1 to 7 for the Atlantic. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's hard because it's low. The point totals are so low. I mean, Ottawa has 20 points. I know. But 50 games, miracles happen.
No, they do. I mean, the year that the St. Louis Blues won the Cup, they kind of pulled it out from basically the bottom at this time. So I would say I'm going to count the Sens and Canadiens out just because of the situation that the Sens are in with some of their key pieces that they were counting on, like Matt Murray as their starting goalie, are not working out.
Yeah.
I think they have a couple pieces to retool before they're in a real competing situation. So I would say the Sens and Canadiens for the Atlantic Division I'd count out. The Sabres, I like you said, with Alex Tuch, who I picked up. The other one I grabbed for my fantasy team, if he's still out there for your leagues, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Man, even when they lose, this guy stops like 37 of 40 shots. Like, his save percentage is still good. When they win, his save percentage is great because, like I said, they always get outshot and he stops everything. The guy's going to be great once this team starts getting built a little better around him, and maybe once Owen Power's defending him. But one to look for in the next couple of years. I might pick him in the draft next year, deep.
I actually picked him up early this week because I was not meeting my goalie requirements in one of my leagues. This is my only league with two goaltenders with Jack Campbell and Andre Vasilevsky. So I was like, who is on the wire and ready and available? But this guy, you're absolutely right. He's posting awesome numbers, and Buffalo, they're not doing that bad. And for my goalie starts, hey, it was an awesome pickup for me. So, and also say that
Yep.
name 3 times fast.
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
Boom.
Bam.
No challenge there.
The Sabres are also on a 4-game losing streak, but I think they still have a chance. Like you said, with Tuck just coming back. And is Krebs playing with them yet? Or is he down in the minors?
Yes, he played that game with Tuck, actually. He assisted on the
Nice.
power play goal as well. So I was going to mention that. I was happy to see him called up too. So getting his chance there.
So over to the Metro division, I would only count out probably the Islanders. I think the whole division's pretty tight. I think the wild card spot's going to be a toss-up. The Penguins kind of have a lock on it right now, but man,
it's hard with this division.
it is. That division's really tight. I think the Flyers have kind of been on a free fall for a while.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be bold and say, even though they're not even second last in that division, I think the Flyers are not making the playoffs this year. And I don't think the Islanders are getting out of last place there. So I'd say those two are a lock.
Yeah.
Maybe New Jersey as well.
If you would have asked anyone prior to this season, we all would have thought that the New York Islanders would be top 3 in the Metro. I mean, this was a Stanley Cup favorite at one point, and I don't know what's going on, but I am definitely taking a chance on them in fantasy with seeing Varlamov on the waiver wire. So this is a guy who you would draft in maybe the 3rd to 6th round in some leagues, and now he was put on the wire. So you know what? New York has to turn it around. There's no way but up from this point, and they've been proving that with their 2-game winning streak and actually clicking on the power play. Finally, your boy Anders Lee, I know you drafted and you had to drop him a couple months ago. He's been on
They can't
fire.
score.
I know.
It doesn't,
yeah.
But on fire, like relatively speaking for the Islanders. I mean, okay, so top goals for in the East is the Panthers at 122. And bottom is the Islanders, goals for 64.
Oof. Bad.
Literally almost doubled.
Yeah.
In almost the same amount of games. So the Islanders need to find some sort of offensive productivity, or it's going to be a really, really, really long season for them.
Yeah.
Because there's 50 more games. And I know Mr. Lamoriello does not like situations like this.
You know what? My bold take on this, while we're on it, is that the New York Islanders will pull themselves out of this hole and actually make a wild card spot this year. That's just my take and my hope for this team. But if you were to just ask me who I'm counting out, it would definitely be the New Jersey Devils. I mean, they had a huge signing with Hamilton in the back end, and I don't think things have been working out too much for them. I mean, they are a high scoring team, but I don't know. Philly for sure is not making it too. Or Columbus is also iffy. This is a hard one. But
so Simon Nomus 97, who sent us a question earlier, just sent a tweet that I saw, and I really like this, and I think we should do this.
Okay.
For every shutout for soup, we will do a little soup to a food shelter, or to a homeless shelter donation. So we can do I'll try to work this out and I'll post it on Twitter, but we will match whatever is donated.
It's a good idea.
And we'll donate. So whenever Soup gets a shutout or Mikheyev gets a hat trick,
or when Richie scores,
careful, he might pop off later.
Yeah.
We will, just because this was sent to me a minute ago, I'll work this out and follow up, but it'll be before the next episode. I'll put this out on Twitter.
It's a good idea.
I think it's a really, really great idea. Thank you.
And mentioning,
especially as we get into the winter.
the shutout for Campbell, I know Mission 22 is now giving away a Red Lobster gift card. So there's a contest
nice.
out there right now for that.
Okay, so continuing our playoff race here over to the Western,
The
West.
Get out of my
The
head.
West Conference.
Oh.
Obviously, the Arizona Coyotes in the Central Division are not going anywhere at 6-21-3.
Yeah.
I would also count out the Blackhawks. That's a whole thing I'll get to in another take. And do I want to count the Stars out? I don't think so. They're starting to turn it around finally. I think they might knock somebody out of a spot here. I think it's going to be a race between the Stars, Jets, and an Avalanche there for that wild card spot. But I think Chicago and Arizona are definitely out at this point.
Yeah, I would guarantee them to be out of the playoff running, unfortunately, right? Because we want to see success for Flower Power there. But Chicago is minus 30 on the season, and they're lacking in Chicago. Yep, not scoring, and Arizona's its own bucket of problems, right? So,
oh God, yeah. And the Wild have dropped out of first in the Central Division. They're on a 5-game losing streak, so it's a pretty tight race there between St. Louis, Nashville, and Minnesota, closely behind by Colorado. Like, it's a pretty tight division all around, but those bottom two, like, there's absolutely no chance.
Yeah.
Coyotes are the only ones with less goals for than the Islanders at 63, which is only one less. They've played 2 more games, though, so that's bad. Man, poor Phil.
Poor Phil, man.
What am I saying? Poor Phil. Nobody gives a shit that he's losing, and he gets paid exactly the same amount of money.
Hey,
I don't think he hates this at all.
No, he's actually the 2 points behind Clayton Keller for the lead in scoring on the team. So,
of course he is.
He's
probably
doing well.
Approaching all-time Arizona Coyotes records with like Shane Doan.
Yeah, exactly. But
quietly, well, no one gives a shit, and the team can't make payments.
No.
It's like when he was on the Leafs. He could score 40 goals and everyone would be like, yeah, he sucks, though.
Yeah. Man, I don't even think he works out anymore. He just gave up.
He gets paid either way by 4 different teams at the same time. Like, it's like the Leafs, Pittsburgh, Boston. Everybody's paying him at the same time.
Smart man.
No kidding. So over to the Pacific Division with the monster Golden Knights with 123 goals for, who just lost Max Pacioretty, and I have no idea how long he's going to be out for. He's out indefinitely.
Again.
So he was out on LTIR. He came back. It was a wrist thing. He tried it out for a game. He had zeros across the board, and I was like, Max is not feeling good. And sure enough, the next day they're like, yeah, he got wrist surgery. He tried it out, didn't feel good. So Max is done for the foreseeable future. I don't know if he's coming back at some point, but I mean, wrist surgery is 3-4 months, isn't it? So that's January, February, March, like March, April. So he'll be back for the playoffs. I'm sure it'll be a Kucherov situation. Ooh. So who's Vegas going to pick up? Here's a hot take that we can get to here. I've got this here. Vegas makes a move with Patches on LTIR. We'll get to that in a sec, actually. Who's losing? Who's out of Pacific? The Kraken and the Canucks.
Yeah. I feel like the Canucks...
Actually, the Canucks... Bruce Boudreau might pull some shit here.
Yeah, the Canucks are sitting 7th in the Pacific with 33 points, and Vegas is first with 44
they're only
points.
5. Yeah, they're only 5 points out of third place.
Yeah,
in their division. It's only 5 points between 3rd and 7th in that division. That's insane.
It's the tightest with that division. Yeah, and you know what? They say this is the weakest division too. So that's so surprising to me. But I had high hopes for Seattle, obviously after witnessing what Vegas did in their inaugural season, and now poor Seattle only has 24 points on the season. And
they have more goals for than a lot of teams, to be fair. Like they're scoring at least.
That's true.
They're just their goaltending hasn't been great.
Yeah, but
they've let in as many goals as the Coyotes have.
Oh,
117 goals against. Yeah, they're it is a weird predicament where people are scoring on that team, but yeah,
And they're
blowout games.
the plus side about their draft too was not only the goaltending but the defense core. They were raving all about how this defense core was going to be so awesome, and people were giving them hack about, you didn't draft any top 6 forwards that have a nice resume. So now look at them.
Yeah, they could have had Carey Price.
Yeah. Well, guy still hasn't even played.
That's
Man,
fair.
when's he coming back?
Fair. Yeah, they need him.
Yeah.
But so, like I was going to say about Vegas here, as we talk about expansion teams, they now are down Max Pacioretty, who they traded their first pick, Nick Suzuki, for, to the Montreal Canadiens. Who do we think Vegas is going to make a move for to try to fill the slot? Because Patches was on like an insane scoring pace. He had 21 points in 16 games, I think he played.
Mm-hmm.
Guy was scoring at an absolutely monster pace.
Yeah.
So, like we just said, we've got the Kraken and Coyotes and Blackhawks, Canadians and the Sens and the Islanders all sitting at the bottom. Could it be somebody from there or somewhere else? Where do we think this move comes from?
I just want to see real quick what his contract is, because that will depend on my answer. So he gets paid 4.5 a year, I believe.
That's it? Jesus, what a steal.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, no. Sorry. That was beforehand. So $7 million a year is his contract. Okay. So I guess Vegas would be shopping for someone in that range. The first guy that comes to mind is, I don't know if he's going to be given up before the trade deadline or just slightly after, but definitely in the off season because he's ending his contract with the Vancouver Canucks, is JT Miller. This guy, he has played 155 games with the Vancouver Canucks, putting up 155 points. He takes draws. He's on the power play. He's on the penalty kill. He hits like a maniac. He does everything. But my second pick, because this is someone who also requested a trade, is Tarasenko. I think he would love
Tarasenko
being
would
Golden
love
Knight.
Vegas.
Yes, and he has 30. Last time I checked before the game today, he had 32 points and counting. I know he has a couple tonight just from playing with my boy Caillou. Thank you, Johnny. So, yeah, imagine Tarasenko on this already stacked Vegas Golden Knights team with Jack Eichel as well. Or do they just use that space for Jack?
Nasty.
Yeah.
Okay, so my theory, Tarasenko is a good one. Tarasenko is a huge possibility there. But I think the struggling Columbus Blue Jackets might make a move to push out Patrick Laine, who would also love Vegas.
He would love it, but the reason why I did not say him is that he would demand too much money. Because he's already on a 7.5 1-year contract. I feel like this guy wants to get paid, unfortunately.
They're not going to keep him.
I know, and he's been a point per game player this year with only 11 points in 11 games. But obviously, he's had a horrible year last year with a negative 29 on the season, only posting 21 points in 45 games. Columbus is kicking themselves in the ass at this point, right? They need more from the guy, so...
Bring, bring. Hey, Patrick, do you want to come play with Jack Eichel and go for a cup with the Vegas Golden Knights and then sign a contract for like $12 million wherever you want after? Yeah, sure. Sounds great.
Yeah, he could use it. I mean, he lost his dad this year, unfortunately, at the age of 54, and this guy's been through a lot. But who wouldn't want a guy like Patrick Laine? Like, the guy is 6'5", 216, second overall behind Matthews. Man, if he is connecting with that first or second line, that would be unstoppable.
Okay, here's another one. If Boston is not in a playoff position come trade deadline day, Patrice Bergeron.
I don't know if they'd do that, though, because they would want someone who can play more than just center with Jack Eichel coming back. Unless he drops down to the second line. He could also drop down to second line and let Jack shine, but...
just looking at who was coming off. I mean, Louis Eriksson and Thomas Hurdle. We got Joe Pavelski coming off at the end of this year. I'm like they're going to grab a rental, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
they know that Patch is going to come back for next season.
Yeah.
That's why I think Line A really makes sense for them, because that's a high power scoring winger that they can slot in, and he's in a position where he wants to get out of there and sign somewhere for a lot of money. And
Mm-hmm.
I think a good interim place for him is Vegas.
What will Columbus demand back, though? Because they're going to sell him high, high, high.
Yeah, that's fair. So, I mean, what do we think? Vegas has, in terms of draft picks, they've got firsts for the next, not this year, but the 2 years after. They've got a second, and a couple of other teams after that. As far as people to get rid of, I don't know. They probably don't want to move anybody.
I know. Yeah. It's like they're finally building their full puzzle once they activate Jack Eichel. But they're already over. When they activate, they're going to be over about $10 million. So they're going to have to make some big money moves.
What about moving? I mean, you don't want to say John Marchessault because Vegas has really taken a liking to him.
I saw some talk about Riley Smith, actually. That's
Yeah.
$5 million right there.
Okay, so Riley Smith, who, just flip them around the other way. You can re-sign Riley Smith to a better looking contract than Patrick Laine and build something around there. So, hey, there's our prediction right there. Riley Smith goes to Columbus with a pick back for Patrick Laine.
There we go.
So moving on, Chicago, I think, is going to trade Flower because I think they were expecting a lot out of this season, signing him and Seth Jones, and the season just kind of collapsed around them.
Mm-hmm.
They fired the coach and everything, and a lot of distractions in the back office. So where do we think he could go? Because my pick is Colorado, because I don't think they've gotten the goaltending that they were looking for. But Seattle also isn't getting the goaltending they're looking for, like we talked about.
Yeah, that is a good pick, actually. Colorado would be definitely in my top two. Another team that really needs goaltending, I would say, is Philly. I don't know, he would never go to Philly, but I know they need it because Carter Hart is not doing as well as you'd want him to, as well as it's hard. It's tough. Maybe even
There's
New
a lot
Jersey.
of people that got there's a lot of people that signed big goalies that aren't getting big goalie performances.
Yeah, this was the year of all those predictions because of these huge signings of defenders and goaltenders, and then it didn't work out at the end. So it's just been like a what the F moment on a lot of case. So
No kidding. And like I said, I hope Darcy Kemper got some new skates for Christmas, because I can't watch him lose a skate blade again.
Whole new set.
Yeah,
But
he's very close to getting dropped from my fantasy team. So I think Seattle could be an interesting destination for Flower. I mean, he went to Vegas in the first place, so expansion team is kind of a thing. It's also a nice place to retire potentially out in Seattle.
watch him go
Close to
to
the,
Montreal.
Oh my god, if he does, I swear to God.
They can afford it if they drop Carey Price.
They can afford it right now. They're playing with like $19 million worth of players.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be the surprise of the century.
Oh, can you imagine Carey Price and Marc-Andre Fleury?
Swap.
Oof. Ooh, that's an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Carey Price goes to Chicago.
He's like, nah, I'm going to retire right now, yesterday.
Hey, Chicago's got a history of good goalies. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
The other one I think is going to happen is with his deal expiring at the end of this year, I think the Flyers make a move with Claude Giroux to a team that wants him to contend. I know we talked about Vegas for the others. I don't think he'd go there because, like what you said, he's a center.
Yeah.
I think as a depth like second or third line center. Claude Giroux is awesome as a playmaker and just an enforcer and
Yeah.
a leader on a team. He's been a captain in Philly forever. Like, I think that team's going in a different direction over the next couple of years, and I don't think he's going to be a part of it or wants to stick around to see, regardless.
Yeah. Interesting. You think a team like Seattle or something would pick him up where they can use the experience and leadership?
If he goes to Seattle, he's their first line center, probably.
Mm-hmm. I know they had a Morgan Geekie playing on the first line last night, which I found surprising because he was a fourth liner, and they're trying everything at this point, literally everything.
That's what I mean. If
So
Giroux went there, he'd probably be their first line center and train a bunch of these people up. Like, I think it'd be a good fit for him. That's an interesting destination. I think otherwise maybe no, he wouldn't go to maybe somewhere
Anaheim,
like Calgary, Anaheim,
the young
potentially.
team.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The same about Calgary, who might move on from somebody like Monahan in this offseason. They might try to bring a veteran in to move some of the younger guys from their
Yes,
farm system up around.
I agree with that because Monahan has been playing himself out of a spot. So unfortunately, because obviously he's been around for a little while now, but he's been mostly on the third line lately. So he used to be the first line center at one point.
Yeah, those were the days, man. Him and Gaudreau,
Yeah.
lighten it up.
Okay.
So we're going a little long here, so we got a couple of things to touch before we ramp up. So the last of our holiday giveaways here, I apologize. Now that I have them all finished here, I'll pack them all up. I now have a way to send them all at a bit of a discount to me, which is lovely. So
Nice.
everybody will get their stuff in nice diamond storage boxes. Shout out. So our winner of the final thing is, let me get where's my drum roll here? E at MMA XO. Thanks so much. You got the code word Ballard.
Whoop, whoop.
You have won yourself something from Steph's collection of gear.
Yes, you have. So, and you're also missing some stickers, so you guys will get that soon. And stay tuned. Your prizes are coming. We thank you for your patience.
Yeah, let me know who you owe stickers to, and I'll send those, and then
Yes.
everything else.
Sounds good.
So, the other thing I want to add is Spotify added a rating system. So for the, I think, 35% of you that listen to us on Spotify, if you would be so kind as to give us 5 stars on there. What's cool is they actually make you listen to some of it. You have to be a listener of the show before you can rate it. It's not like Apple where you can just drop in and
Nice.
drop 5 stars. They make you say like, hey, you should listen to the show first and give an honest opinion.
Awesome. I did not know that.
Listen to the show.
As an Apple user. So also our Apple fans and everywhere else, you can give us a rating and do what you do. Tell your grandma, tell everyone about us, and that'd be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, heck yeah. We want to get the word out. And another thing I want to ask is when we post it, if you could retweet our episode, because the more people see it, the more people listen to it, and then the more things we can bring to you guys, because it brings more interaction.
Yes.
So thank you for sticking around for the first show of 2022. We've got lots of fun stuff planned. We're going to give away the Matthews jersey next Saturday. So what we're going to do for shows moving forward is we're going to do them when the games were supposed to be originally. So we'll have a show on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So Monday, I'll explain all the details of the Matthews jersey giveaway. That'll be for Saturday. Sorry, the COVID postponements really threw off our whole giveaway schedule.
Yep.
So between now and Monday stuff, and I'll come up with a fun game for y'all to win that with. And yeah, stay tuned. We're going to have lots of new fun games that we can play in 2022. We're going to have our community show. So stay tuned for details on that. It's going to be a fun year.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, we'll bring all of you guys on, as many of you as we can. We'll just have a big group discussion about all things Leafs.
Yes.
So next episode, we're going to be doing, because we didn't get to it today, we're going to go through and pull all of our takes from the first 29 episodes of the show so far from 2021. And we're going to see how our takes held up, our preseason predictions and all that, and see how right and how wrong we were. So that'll be a fun one.
Yes, and I know I asked you guys today in our Leafs group about some Twitter takes, and I guess before we sign off, I just want to mention a few people who I said I'd give a little shout out to. So at Nurse Alex 19, I think a lot of people in this group actually, their biggest thing when asked, what do you guys expect? What didn't you see yet that hasn't happened, etc. Everyone wants Soup signed, man. They want that contract extension now. They want him in as a Leaf. They don't want this anxiety about the contract. And then our boy Dusty there, his take on that was, I think Jack Campbell signs on Valentine's Day and becomes Leafs Nation's Valentine.
Oh, I
That'd
was
be
just going to say it's
perfect.
probably going to be like Riley, where we're all just going about our day and we get an update that Jack Campbell signed a contract.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, what? At 2:00 on a Wednesday?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And one last thing, Pepino 1823, his takes, which I agreed with, Ottawa being a wild card team, and that's why I kind of backed this statement up earlier in the episode, because we can see this happening, and even though the points it's super low, you just never know. And the Habs, they're challenging for a draft lottery pick at this point, and I totally agree with that too. I mean, they're not really challenging for anything else. And another interesting thing is that the Jets tail off, so that's something to watch out for. And that the Flames land a wild card, and the Canucks will come close after a disastrous start. And that's,
Ooh.
yeah, I can see that happening as well, because right now they're sitting at 500, I believe, which, yeah, they are actually sitting at 500. So, yeah, thanks for that, guys.
I didn't mean to hit that. That was a
no worries.
Premature.
I'm done. I'm done. Thanks, guys, for your takes.
I didn't mean to play you out there like the Oscars.
Johnny just cut me off with the music, so I'm done.
I was loading it up and it went on its own.
No worries. I'm kidding. But I have no timer, as you know, so I can just blah, blah, blah forever and ever. So next time, you'll get the rest of that.
Well, thanks so much for sending things in. We appreciate it.
Yay!
Okay, so as always, Steph the Fanalyst and Roscoe, thanks for tuning in. We are Leafs Late Night.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Leafs Late Night, your night of post-game podcast. Available after every game on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and more.
We're serving two soups tonight. 2 soups on the menu, borscht and Campbell's. Good night.